The year is 2042. An X-class solar flare, the highest rating on the C-Warmy scale, has ripped through the Earth's atmosphere, frying electrical grids and plunging most of the planet into darkness. You play as a nameless worker, one of the few who still survive in this world. Your days are spent scavenging for food and water in a ruined megacity. The nights are filled with the constant threat of gangs and monsters, creatures warped by the flare and the radiation that follows. Despite the danger, you push on, driven by a need to survive and perhaps a flicker of hope that you might see the sun again. But there is beauty in this darkness too. In the absence of light, the stars shine with an otherworldly brilliance. And in the quiet, you can hear a different kind of music, the songs of crickets and the murmur of the wind. It's a world forever changed, yet strangely peaceful. As you make your way through the deserted streets, you come across a battered radio. It's a relic from a time before the flare, a tangible link to a world that no longer exists. As you tune the dial, you pick up a faint transmission, the voice of a man named Elias, a leader who's trying to rebuild society in the aftermath of the solar flare. He speaks of hope and renewal, of a future where humanity can thrive again. His words stir something within you, a belief that maybe, just maybe, things can get better. But the road to recovery is a long one. The resources are scarce, and the threat of the flare repeating itself looms large. You'll have to make tough choices, explore dangerous areas, and face the darkness within and without. And as you do, you'll uncover the secrets of what really happened, how the world ended, and what role you might play in bringing it back. The year is 2067. It's 25 years after the Great Silence, as this time is now called. The world is still dark, but pockets of civilization are beginning to emerge. One such community is Haven City, founded on the principles of sustainability and equality. The people here live a simple life, growing their own food, generating their own power, and valuing each other's company. They remember the warmth of the sun and tell stories of its return. But beyond the city walls, dangers linger. Raiders roam the countryside, preying on the weak and desperate. Mutants, twisted by the radiation of the flare, prowl the ruins of the old world, and the ever-present threat of another solar flare looms overhead. For the people of Haven City, life is a constant struggle for survival. Yet they endure, bound together by their shared humanity and their unwavering hope for a brighter future. But in the darkest of times, hope can be a fragile flame. When a devastating solar flare plunges the world into darkness, it seems as though humanity is doomed. But against all odds, life finds a way. And that brings us to the present day. The world is still recovering from the shock of the Great Silence. Entire industries have been wiped out. Global supply chains have collapsed, and society is struggling to adapt to a new way of life. In the midst of this chaos, though, new opportunities are emerging. There is a pressing need for engineers, doctors, teachers, and leaders who can help humanity rebuild. The challenges are immense, but so too are the rewards. For those who dare to dream of a better world, this is a call to action. The world needs you. Are you ready to answer? The sun, a malevolent eye in the sky, beats down on the shattered, remnants of a world lost to the great flare. Weeks have passed since the solar storm that bathed the Earth in deadly radiation, frying circuits and extinguishing the digital lifeblood that once coursed through the veins of the world's cities. Here in the sprawling urban jungle, the towering skyscrapers are tombs of a bygone era, silent sentinels guarding secrets of a forgotten age. You, a mere cog in the vast machinery of society before the flare, now find yourself a scavenger, eking out an existence among the ruins. Your days are spent in the hushed, dusty stillness of what was once a bustling metropolis. The air, thick with the scent of decay and the ghosts of a million memories, clings to the empty streets, whispering tales of the vibrant life that once pulsed between these decaying buildings. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is one of quiet desperation. You must scavenge the lifeless husk of the city for supplies, for anything that might sustain you in this new world of shadows and silence. Each building you enter, each street you traverse, is a journey into the heart of darkness, a testament to the brutality of a world irrevocably altered. But in the quiet moments, when the oppressive heat of the day gives way to the cool embrace of twilight, there's a strange, haunting beauty to this desolate world. The dying embers of a setting sun paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, casting long, eerie shadows that dance and sway like phantoms in the gathering gloom. And as the stars begin their slow, silent vigil in the inky expanse above, you are left with a profound sense of solitude, a chilling reminder of the price you pay for survival in a world consumed by darkness. The wind, a constant companion in this desolate world, moans through the shattered windows of skyscrapers, carrying with it the scent of dust and decay. It's a mournful symphony, a requiem for a lost world, a lament for the lives that flickered and died amidst the blinding light of the flare. And as the night deepens, the sounds of the city come alive. The distant rumble of falling debris, the soft creak of rusted metal, the faint echo of footsteps in the deserted streets, a haunting reminder that you are not alone in this graveyard of a city. For in the darkest corners of this ruined world, there are others like you, survivors clinging to the edge of hope, forever changed by the searing touch of the sun's malevolent gaze. You are the last human in a city of glass and steel, a monument to a forgotten era. The question is, what do you do now? The morning mist clings to the empty streets like a shroud, muffling the crunch of your footsteps on shattered glass. The remnants of a society that brought you nothing but pain lie scattered around you. Yet there's a strange beauty in the silence. The wind whispers through the skeletal remains of buildings, creating a haunting melody that underscores the immensity of your solitude. Days have turned into weeks since the flare, a merciless censor that purged the earth of 99% of humanity. You survived by sheltering in place, sealing off the upper floors of this abandoned office tower with scavenged materials. The stench of burnt circuits still lingers, a grim reminder of the flare's wrath. Your makeshift shelter is a small price to pay for the safety it provides, a meager corner fortified with a scavenged tarp that barely keeps out the evening chill. Sleep offers little respite, and when you do wake, your body is stiff from forced postures and the dreams of a life that was. You drag yourself to the cracked window. The city sprawls before you, a concrete jungle reclaimed by nature. The skyscrapers, once symbols of human ingenuity, now stand as silent sentinels, their glass facades dulled by dust. There's a haunting beauty in the decay, a stark reminder of what you've lost and what you must now endure. In the distance, you see movement, a flicker of life in this concrete wasteland. Hope stirs within you, fragile as a newborn bird, and you find yourself drawn to the window, desperate for connection, for a sign that you're not utterly alone. But as the hours pass, the figure remains distant, an ambiguous silhouette against the fading light. The hope you've nurtured withers, leaving you stranded in a sea of solitude. As night falls, the city comes alive with nocturnal sounds, the rustle of rats in the walls, the mournful hoot of an owl. A darkness is oppressive, pressing in on you, amplifying the silence. You pull the threadbare blankets around you, seeking solace in their familiar weight. The cold seeps into your bones, a constant companion in this desolate landscape. What do you do now? With the sun's final rays, the silence deepens, broken only by the mournful cry of a distant bird. The vastness of the city, once a source of pride, now feels like a suffocating tomb. You are a solitary soul in a graveyard of glass and steel, and the night is just beginning. Your choices will determine how this story ends. Choose wisely, survivor, for your every decision echoes in an empty world. What do you do now? The wind whispers through the skeletal remains of a shopping mall, whistling a tune of forgotten consumerism. Sunlight, filtered through grime-coated windows, paints the floor in hues of amber and rust. It's the kind of morning that bites at your skin and settles deep in your bones. You wake to the insistent cawing of crows, their dark forms silhouetted against the bruised sky. Breakfast is simple. A scavenged tin of beans heated over a small fire, kindled with broken furniture. The beans taste metallic, their flavor dulled by time. But they fill the hollow in your stomach and stave off the gnawing hunger that could make a grown man weep. You eat slowly, rationing each bite, knowing supplies are scarce. The fire's warmth is fleeting, its smoke stinging your eyes. You pull the hood of your jacket tighter, a futile attempt to shield yourself from the biting wind. The notebook is heavy in your hands, its pages filled with sketches of the city and its outskirts. Maps of safe routes and hidden caches, each a testament to your journey and a reminder of the life that was. Your clothes, patched jeans, and a worn jacket are heavy with the dust of your travels. The fibers whisper tales of sweat and ash, of sun-bleached bones and memories best left buried. You run a hand over the faded denim, smoothing out a wrinkle that mirrors the lines etched on your face. Every stitch, every thread is a lifeline to the past, a tangible link to an existence that feels both alien and sacred. The wind picks up, swirling fallen leaves into miniature tornadoes that dance across the wasteland. A crow lands on a nearby lamppost, regarding you with an intelligence that both fascinates and frightens. Its black eyes are like polished obsidian, reflecting the bleak panorama of the city's decay. You watch it, transfixed, as it lets out a harsh cry that echoes your own desolation. Suddenly, a glint of metal catches your eye. A discarded can, half buried in the rubble, shimmers like a fallen star. Hope, fragile as it is, stirs within you. You rise, your joints aching, and approach the can cautiously. It could be dangerous, a trap, or worse. But the possibility of sustenance, even meager, draws you in. As you reach for the can, a low growl rumbles in your chest, a primal sound that speaks of hunger and resilience. With a deep breath, you heft the can, its weight a comforting burden. You turn, your silhouette framed against the dying light, and walk away from the whispering mall, away from the ghosts of the past, towards the uncertain promise of the future. Your day is spent foraging, a task that takes you through the city's quiet arteries. Picture yourself walking down a boulevard, once thronged with self-driving cars, now littered with their husks, their circuits fried by the flare. The pavement is cracked, dusted with ash that swirls in the breeze. The air is dry, carrying the faint tang of rust and decay, a scent that clings to your throat. You move carefully, avoiding areas where scavengers, desperate or dangerous, might linger. The silence is profound, broken only by the creak of a shop sign, swaying above a looted storefront, or the distant call of a bird, a rare sign of life. You are alone, truly alone, for the first time in what feels like an eternity. No convoy, no camp, no one to answer to but yourself. For weeks, maybe months, you've drifted from group to group, gathering what little remains of the old life. But now you must forge a new one. You are on your own. The sun, a malevolent eye in the sky, beats down on the ruins around you. A world that was once vibrant and alive is now a tomb. The buildings stripped bare are monuments to a civilization that collapsed. The roads, choked with debris, are a graveyard of broken concrete and twisted metal. The silence is heavy, pressing down on you like a shroud. It's a silence that screams of a world lost, of lives extinguished. In the distance, a lone crow calls, a harsh, grating sound that echoes in the emptiness. It's a sound that pierces the silence, a sound that speaks of death and decay. You quicken your pace, eager to escape the oppressive stillness. As you walk, you half expect to see the street give way beneath you, to swallow you into its dusty grave. The silence follows you, seeping into your bones, chilling you to the core. It's a silence that seems to mock you, a silence that whispers of the futility of it all. You are truly alone. There is no one to hear your footsteps, no one to witness your despair. You are a specter, a ghost haunting the ruins of a dead world. And then you stop. You can't remember the last time you felt this utter solitude, this profound disconnection. The silence isn't just oppressive, it's liberating. In this vast emptiness, you are free. Free from the expectations, the demands, the obligations of the old life. Here, in the heart of the ruins, you are nothing, utterly and completely nothing. And in that nothingness, you find a strange sense of peace. Your goal is a supermarket, a place where rumors say that the shelves are still stocked with unspoiled goods. It's a half-mile trek through a maze of shadowy alleys. The air is thick with the smell of decay, and the silence is broken only by the crunch of your boots on shattered glass. As you pass a hospital, its automatic doors stand open, welcoming you into a labyrinth of dark hallways. The machines that once hummed with life-saving energy are now silent, their purpose forgotten. The weight of what happened here presses down on you, a stark reminder of the flare's deadly toll. But you can't afford to dwell on it now. Survival is a full-time job, and so you push the memories aside and keep moving forward. The supermarket looms ahead, a beacon of hope in this desolate landscape. As you reach the entrance, your eyes scan the shattered glass on the floor, the remnants of a desperate search for food. Inside, it's like stepping into a freezer. The air is cold and damp, the shelves mostly bare. But then you see it, a small stash of dented cans and packets of dried noodles. It's not much, but it's enough to sustain you for days. Your hands tremble as you pack the meager supplies, the cold seeping through your gloves, a constant reminder of the world's new harshness. The sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the store. It's time to go. You retrace your steps, the crunch of glass underfoot a lonely soundtrack to your journey. The darkness seems deeper now, the air colder. The hospital looms ahead, a silent sentinel in the gathering gloom. You hesitate at the threshold, the memory of the humming machines almost painful now. But you have no choice but to press on. The world has changed, but you must keep moving forward. One step at a time, one day at a time, until you reach the rumored safety of an abandoned military base. Until then, you are a shadow in the ruins, a survivor in a world that has gone quiet. Your goal is a supermarket, 2 blocks away, where people have rumored to have seen goods that have been spoiled in the 3 weeks since the flare. It's a half-mile trek through shadowy alleys, past boarded-up shops and deserted cars. The silence is heavy, punctuated only by the crunch of your boots on shattered glass. Your breath is steady, but your eyes dart from side to side, searching for danger in the gloom. You pass a hospital, its emergency doors hanging open like a silent scream. You peer inside. The fluorescent lights hum, casting an eerie glow on the deserted halls. Machines that once saved lives are silent now, their screens dark. The weight of all that has been lost hangs in the air, a bitter reminder of the flare's deadly toll. But you push the thought aside. There's no time to grieve. Survival is a full-time job. And so you move on, focusing on the task at hand, reaching the supermarket at the end of the block. Its windows are dusty, its shelves mostly bare. But as you push open the door, you see that the stock at the back hasn't been touched. You move quickly, grabbing dented cans of vegetables and soup, a packet of dried noodles. Your hands are shaking, not just from cold or hunger, but from the thrill of finding something that hasn't spoiled yet. You carefully pack your meager rations, trying not to think about how the cold seeps through your gloves, how it will bite at your skin if you don't keep moving. As you turn to leave, you notice a group of men approaching. They see you and begin to run, their eyes hungry. You don't know if they want what you have, or if they read just as desperate for any scraps as you are. You turn and run, your heart pounding, the crunch of their footsteps close behind. You can hear their shouts, their words lost in the roar of the wind. You don't dare look back. You don't want to see the wild look in their eyes, the desperation that has driven them to this. You stumble, dropping your precious cargo. A can of vegetables rolls away, its metal skin gleaming in the weak sunlight. You hesitate, torn between the need to keep moving and the desire to grab the can before it disappears from sight. You glance over your shoulder. The men are still coming, but they're focused on the road ahead. You dart off the path, snatch the can from the ground, and hide behind a dumpster. The men run past, their shadows stretching long and distorted in the dust. When their shouts have faded, you take a shaky breath, clutching the can of vegetables like a trophy. It's just one can, but it's a start. You have something to trade, something to barter. Maybe it won't last long, but for now, it's a lifeline, a chance to stay alive in a world that's gone crazy. What is the best way to survive the end of the world? I hear this question a lot, and the answer, if you can find it, will be different for everyone. But maybe it's in the questions we do and ask that we find the real secrets to thriving. Your evenings are spent in your shelter, tallying your finds by the flicker of a scavenged candle. The wax drips slowly. Its scent mingles with the dust of the room. You sketch in your notebook, mapping new routes or noting safe buildings. A ritual that grounds you. Sleep comes fitfully. The silence of the city is both a balm and a burden. Dreams, when they come, are of the world before, flashing billboards, warm homes, the voice of a loved one now lost to the chaos. The rhythm of your life is one of endurance, each day a quiet struggle to carve meaning from the ruins. These are the moments when hope can turn to despair, and despair can feel like hope. When the line between sanity and madness is a whisper thin, when the only constant is change, when the future is an open-ended question mark, and the past a closed book. How do you measure time? How do you keep track of days that stretch into weeks and months that bleed into years? How do you mark the passage of time when the sun, the moon, and the stars no longer have a hold on your waking hours? Or when the seasons turn, but there's no wind to carry their scent? How do you know when spring has sprung or summer's rain has come? Do you watch the buds swell on the trees outside your window, or listen to the birds return to their nests? If you're alone, who will witness your tears or the slow, sad crumbling of your spirit? Who will see the sunrise and sunset, the waxing and waning of the moon, the turning of the seasons, the relentless march of time? Who will remember? And if no one is left to remember, does it really matter? There are days when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear, when the silence screams, and the memories come flooding back, leaving you gasping for air in a world that no longer has any meaning. It's in these moments that you must hold on to hope, however faintly it may flicker. Hope that one day the sun will shine again, that one day the world will remember. In the heart of the city, hidden amidst the towering concrete structures, there existed a sanctuary. It was a place untouched by the decay that had crept into every corner of their lives. This sanctuary was the city's last library, a repository of knowledge and dreams, and its caretaker was an old woman named Elena. The war had taken everything from Elena, her family, her friends, her students. But it had failed to extinguish the fire of knowledge that burned within her. Day after day, she tended to her books, whispering stories to the silent shelves, hoping that someone, anyone, would come and listen. One day, a young boy named Alex stumbled upon the library. He had heard rumors of a place where one could find answers to any question, and he had come seeking wisdom. Elena, with her heart full of warmth, welcomed him in. Seeing the wonder in his eyes as he explored the endless rows of books, she knew that the flame of curiosity had been passed on. As weeks turned into months, Alex became a regular at the library. He would sit by the old woman, listening intently as she shared tales of bravery, love, and adventure. The books became their shared solace, their pages whispering secrets to those who cared to listen. But their peaceful haven was not meant to last. One day, soldiers arrived at the library, their leader demanding that Elena hand over all the books. He wanted to use them as fuel for the fires that would soon consume the city. Elena, with the unwavering support of Alex, refused. She knew that once these books were destroyed, the knowledge they held would be lost forever. A struggle ensued, a battle between those who sought to devour the past and those who wished to preserve it. In the end, it was the soldiers who emerged victorious, leaving the library in ruins and Elena heartbroken. Yet amidst the ashes, hope blossomed. Alex, inspired by the courage of the old woman, had secretly copied down the stories she had shared with him. With these copies, he traveled from town to town, keeping the stories alive and ensuring that the knowledge contained within them would not be forgotten. And so, even though the physical books may have perished in the flames, the stories they held continued to live on, carried by the whispers of the wind through the ruins of the city. The old woman's name was Elena. She was a teacher by profession, but her students were no longer eager young minds. Her pupils now, those who had lost everything in the war, those who had lost everything in the war, those who had lost everything in the war. The reclamation project began modestly, a single wind-powered cart, a testament to human spirit and a beacon of progress. This humble invention was Dr. Kessler's response to the world's energy crisis following the Great Flare of 2042. Its purpose: to harness the kinetic energy of the wind and store it, offering a sustainable power source for those who lived in its shadow. The cart became a symbol of resilience, a tangible manifestation of hope in a world that had grown accustomed to darkness. But Dr. Kessler's vision didn't end at a single cart. She saw a future where these mechanical marvels were not just a solitary flicker, but a network of radiant energy, a constellation of wind-powered wonders that could illuminate the darkest corners of the city. Her dream was to create an intricate web of these carts, each one a silent sentinel, diligently gathering wind energy and converting it into a power that could revitalize the city. Her plan was both audacious and intricate. She envisioned these carts not merely as a means of generating power, but as a framework for rebuilding, powering homes, businesses, and even public transportation. The bustling marketplace was a key area targeted by Dr. Kessler's project. By installing a network of wind carts here, she aimed to breathe new life into the market, allowing vendors to display their wares under the glow of sustainable energy. This, in turn, would not only illuminate the marketplace, but also serve as a catalyst for economic activity, fostering a sense of community and shared prosperity. The success of the reclamation project lay not just in its grand vision, but in the intricate details. Each wind cart was a masterpiece of design, a harmonious blend of functionality and aesthetics. They stood as sentinels against the fading skyline, their sails catching the wind and whispering tales of a brighter tomorrow. But the project was more than just an engineering marvel. It was a beacon of hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. In a world grappling with the aftermath of the solar storm, Dr. Kessler's initiative served as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit could not be extinguished. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape, the wind carts stood illuminated, their presence a comforting constant in a world that had been turned upside down. They were more than just machines. They were symbols of resilience, of hope, and of a future powered by innovation and determination. And so the legacy of the reclamation project continued, one wind-powered cart at a time, weaving a tapestry of light and energy in the heart of the post-apocalyptic city. Amara Kessler was not born to lead. She was born to understand. Picture her in the years before the flare, a solar physicist in her late 40s, working in a research lab filled with the soft hum of computers and the faint scent of ozone from the equipment. Her office was modest. Its walls were lined with charts of solar cycles, and her desk was cluttered with coffee-stained notebooks. Amara's life was one of steady observation, tracking the sun's moods through data streams. Her mind was attuned to patterns others overlooked. When the flare hit, it was her calculations that provided the first warning, a shift in the sun's corona, a ripple in time. It was her voice that cut through the panicked clamor, reaching the president in the Oval Office, delivering the forecast with quiet authority. The public listened as the president spoke, their unease growing with each syllable. And when the president's voice failed, when the gravity of the situation sunk in, it was Amara's face that filled the screen, her calm eyes meeting the nation's gaze. In that moment, the weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders. No longer was she just a scientist. She was humanity's shield against the sun's wrath. Days blurred into weeks as Amara and her team worked tirelessly, their research becoming the North Star, guiding humanity's response. Sleep was a luxury food distraction. The only reprieve, the shared purpose that bound them, the hope that flickered in people's eyes. When they explained the science, the only sound sweeter than the sun as approval was the quiet awe in people's voices when they grasped the concepts. Yet for all the good she was doing, a part of Amara withered. Her work demanded she remain detached, a stance that had once defined her strength now threatened to consume her. The face on the screen, the one that had projected confidence in the face of national peril, belonged not just to the nation, but to her daughter too. Seeing her mother on TV, her daughter felt a mixture of pride and estrangement. It was as if two Amaras existed, one in the sun-drenched lab and another in the cold light of the TV screen. The daughter saw the fear in her mother's eyes, the burden of responsibility, and it mirrored the distance she felt in her own heart. Now, with the world hanging in the balance, Amara had to confront not just the sun's fury, but the distance that threatened to eclipse their bond. In the months before the flare, Amara's research uncovered troubling signs. Picture her late at night, her eyes tracing graphs that showed an impending solar maximum, a peak in activity that could unleash a storm rivaling the Carrington event of 1859. That earlier flare, she knew, had sparked auroras as far as the tropics and set telegraph lines ablaze. In 2042, with humanity's reliance on electronics far greater, the risk was catastrophic. Amara wrote reports, sent warnings to governments and corporations, her words precise but urgent. But the world was distracted by economic rivalries, by the dazzle of new technologies. Her cautions were filed away, her voice lost in the hum of progress. Then the sun flared. The world watched as aurora danced across the sky, a beautiful, terrifying spectacle. Power grids went down. Communications failed. The global economy, just weeks away from total collapse, was plunged into chaos. In the ensuing darkness, a single mother and her young son huddled together. Fear turned to despair as the sky grew brighter and brighter. Then a searing pain tore through the woman's body. When she opened her eyes, she saw the northern lights for the first time. Her son, shielded by her body, was safe. Relief flooded her, a profound sense of gratitude for the natural world's awesome power and the fierce love that had just saved her son. But then the memories came flooding back. Vivid, disturbing images of the months leading up to the event. A famous physicist warning about an impending solar storm, about how the coming flare could disrupt global systems, cause widespread blackouts. The memory of the physicist's worried face, his urgent pleas to take shelter, to prepare for the worst. And then the image of the scientist, her friend, standing in front of a wall of numbers and letters, her eyes blazing with determination. "I won't rest," she had said, "until someone listens." The mother looked down at her son. His small hand clutched hers. His thumb, stained with dirt and chocolate, had a certain innocence about it. She remembered the days when she, too, had looked up at the sky with wonder, when the world had seemed full of promise and possibility. What kind of world, she wondered, will he inherit? As the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, the mother made a decision. She would honor her friend's sacrifice by ensuring her son and others like him would inherit a better world. A world where science and humanity are celebrated, where knowledge is power and understanding is the greatest adventure of all. She would tell her son the story of the brave scientist who had tried to warn them all. She would make sure his generation grew up knowing that they, too, could make a difference, that they could be the heroes of their own stories. For in the end, it wasn't just the sun that had risen that day. It was hope. When the flare struck, Amara's predictions became reality. Picture it the moment in her lab. The screens flickered and then went dark one by one. The air grew thick with the smell of ozone and the faint pop of failing circuits. Outside, the city fell silent as if its pulse had been extinguished. Amara, like you, became a survivor. Her expertise now a tool for a different purpose, a weapon against the coming darkness. She left the relative safety of the city's core and joined a group of refugees in an old warehouse on its outskirts. The building was drafty, its concrete floors cold, its air heavy with the scent of rust and damp canvas. Here, amid scavenged crates and flickering fires, Amara met others who had lost everything, a patchwork family of survivors. There was Omar, his face lined with worry, etched deeper by the flare. He clutched a worn photo of a woman and child, their smiling faces a painful reminder of what he'd lost. Then there was Gita, her spirit unbroken, despite the haunted look in her eyes. And young Tariq, his innocence a stark contrast to the grim faces around him. Each carried their burdens. Each had a story that the flare had rudely interrupted. In the days that followed, the city's silence became a deafening presence. The hum of generators, the distant crackle of flames, the murmur of human voices, all faded into an unsettling quiet. The world outside the warehouse grew increasingly hostile, forcing them to stay indoors. Amara, with her scientific mind, took charge. She organized, she rationed, she experimented, trying to find a way to purify the water, concoct a meal from the meager supplies. She even managed to rig up a rudimentary solar still to collect rainwater, a small victory against the encroaching despair. One evening, while the others were out scavenging, Amara found an old radio in a supply crate. It was battered, its paint chipped, but to Amara, it was a lifeline to the past, a way to piece together what had happened to the world outside. As she cleaned the static-covered dials, a voice crackled through the speaker, a beacon of hope in the gathering gloom. With each transmission, Amara felt a surge of determination. They were not alone. There were others out there, survivors like them, struggling, hoping, enduring. The radio gave them a sense of connection, a reminder that even in the darkest nights, hope could be a powerful light. The Reclamation Project was born in those early weeks, a plan to salvage and adapt the remnants of technology. Picture Amara at a makeshift table, her hands sketching diagrams by candlelight, the wax's faint honeyed scent mingling with the chill of the room. Her idea was simple yet bold, to gather functional solar panels, batteries and generators, shielded or repairable, and create a network of small, sustainable hubs. These hubs would power lights, purify water, and with luck, one day restore communication. Her vision was not of returning to the world before, but of building a new rhythm, one less fragile, more attuned to the Earth's cycles. The others, hardened by months on the road, were skeptical. Why invest time and resources in something that felt more like magic than engineering? Yet they listened, a flicker of hope rekindled in their eyes. Even Silas, usually quick to dismiss new ideas, saw the merit in it. The solar panels and batteries Amara envisioned could also power the tools they needed for hunting and defense. More importantly, they could be a lifeline if the world outside the valley ever became too dangerous to navigate. Thus began their most ambitious project yet. Each day, a team would head out into the wasteland, searching for signs of life and, more importantly, for scraps of the old world that could sustain them. In the rusted shells of buildings, They found textbooks and schematics, manuals for generators and solar panel arrays. They discovered tools, some still holding the faint warmth of the sun, carefully extracted and stored for later use. Back at the homestead, others set up a workshop, its roof a patchwork quilt of salvaged solar panels. Here, under the soft glow of salvaged lamps, they tinkered and talked. The reclamation project was more than just a way to survive. It was a lifeline to the past and a bridge to the future. They were no longer just scraping by. They were building a legacy. The first functional generator was a cause for celebration. Each whirring turn, each sparking wire, a testament to their resilience and ingenuity. When the first battery was pieced together, the news spread through the valley like wildfire. It was more than just a source of power. It was a symbol of hope, a beacon in the darkness that said, yes, they could survive, they could thrive. And as long as the sun rose and set over the horizon, they would keep finding ways to make the broken world turn again. The air is thick with anticipation. The year is 2043, and you are an archivist, one of the few who have dared to venture into the silent archives, a vast subterranean complex housing the world's data before the Great Flare. You're here at the behest of Dr. Amara Kessler, whose reclamation project has brought light and warmth back to a world plunged into darkness by the flare's deadly pulse of energy. Flickering lights lead you deeper into the archives, the faint hum of their emergency generators battling the oppressive silence of the past. The walls are lined with dormant servers, their blinking lights a constellation of lost data. Each server represents a piece of the pre-flare world, a fragment of a time when technology thrived and humanity teetered on the edge of greatness. But why were these archives buried so deep? And what secrets do they hold that even Dr. Kessler's advanced technology can't retrieve? The air grows colder as you descend, the weight of countless untold stories pressing down. The temperature drops further, forcing you to pull your jacket tighter around you. The deeper you go, the more you feel the oppressive weight of the past. Then you see it, a single server, its lights still on. Hope surges through you. Could this be the answer you seek? But as you reach out to touch it, a harsh voice cuts through the silence. Who goes there? Startled, you turn to find a man emerging from the shadows, his face obscured by the darkness. What are you doing here? This place is off limits. Before you can respond, he strikes, knocking you to the ground and sending the server crashing to the floor. Its lights flicker and die, plunging you into darkness. The man lunges, but you roll out of the way, adrenaline surging through you. You scramble to your feet and run, the man close behind. You dodge past servers, each one a silent sentinel guarding the secrets of the past. The man is gaining on you. You can hear the heavy breathing, feel the heat of his body as he closes in. Then you see it, a glimmer of light ahead. You stumble through the darkness and find yourself in a vast chamber. In the distance, you see Dr. Amara Kessler, standing with her arms outstretched as if in welcome. Beside her is a man you recognize from the reclamation project, his face etched with concern. You found him, Dr. Kessler says, her voice echoing in the vast space. I knew you would. She turns to the man beside her. It's time we brought the archives back online. As the man nods, the flickering lights of the reclamation project blaze brighter, casting long shadows in the silent hall. What will you do? Will you help bring the archives back online, or will you try to uncover the secrets they hold? The choice is yours in this, the first episode of Silent Archives. Her leadership was not loud but steady, her voice a calm anchor in the chaos. She taught others how to test circuits or align the panels to catch the weak sunlight that sometimes pierced the dust-laden sky. She showed them how to build homes from the wreckage, how to plant food in the poisoned soil, how to survive in the shadow of the old world. Every morning she would stand at the edge of the settlement, her eyes scanning the horizon, searching for a sign of the sun. Not an easy task when the sky is the color of old bruises and the sun a distant memory. But Amara knew the sun's energy was a gift, one that could be harnessed if you understood its moods and knew how to survive its wrath. The people who followed Amara were a ragtag bunch, former baristas and mechanics, students and soldiers, all thrown together by circumstance and bound by their desperation. Some doubted they would ever see the sun again, but Amara never wavered. She shared their meager rations, doled out by a government that seemed more interested in controlling what little remained than in saving its people. In the evenings, they would gather around fires, huddling close to keep warm in the thin, dusty air. And Amara would tell stories of the world before, of green fields and blue skies, of laughter and light. She spoke of the sun not as an enemy to be feared, but as a constant, a force of nature to be respected and worked with, not against. Her people built homes from the wreckage of the old world, patched together roofs, salvaged windows, furniture, anything that could make life bearable under the harsh glare of the sun. They grew food in the poisoned soil, learning which plants could survive the radiation, which animals could be coaxed into the light. Slowly, painfully, they built a new world out of the ruins of the last. Not everyone was so lucky. Some succumbed to the cold winters, or the diseases that spread in the close quarters of their shelters. Others simply gave up, leaving the settlement for rumored havens that might not exist, hoping against hope that somewhere beyond the dust lay a world worth saving. Amara understood their despair. Every day she, too, felt the pull of the past, the ache of loss, the longing for a world that was gone. Her daughter had been one of the lucky ones, evacuated just before the bombs fell. Now 18 years old, Amara no longer had hope of reuniting with her. But she had a duty to the people who had placed their trust in her, a responsibility to the memory of her daughter, and all those who had lost their children to keep going, to keep believing that somewhere beyond the dust, the sun was rising again. The year is 2043. You are watching this report from a small town in what used to be the state of New Mexico. We're gathered here today to mark the 10th anniversary of the first hub. Picture it, if you will, a single flickering bulb in the darkness of a warehouse, the faint hum of a generator, the faces of the settlers etched in shadow, yet hopeful. It was a small thing, really, just a single light bulb, but it represented so much more. It was a symbol of resilience, of the human spirit's refusal to be cowed by the darkness. In the years since the flare, we've seen a lot of darkness, an endless winter, a collapse of society, the loss of loved ones, the constant threat of raiders, and worst of all, the crushing despair that settles in when you lose hope. But that night, 10 years ago, when Amara flicked that switch and the generator sputtered to life, something inside all of us reignited. It was a spark of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure. The hub spread from here to other settlements. Scavenged radios crackled to life, linking us together. We began to rebuild, to create a new rhythm for our lives, a way to live with the world's new truths. It hasn't been easy. There's been setbacks, losses, and hard lessons learned, but we've endured. And in the years since, we've learned to thrive. Amara wasn't able to erase the flare's scars, but she did give us the strength to carry on. She showed us that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the human spirit can endure. In the years since, we've rebuilt. We've created a community. We've learned to live with the darkness, to find beauty in the smallest of things, like the first bloom of spring or the laughter of children playing. There's been times, of course, when the darkness threatened to consume us, when the cold seeped into our bones, and the silence of the wasteland echoed the emptiness inside of us. But we held on. We held on because we had to. Because somewhere, somehow, we knew that Amara was watching, her spirit walking among us, a guiding light in the darkness. We don't know much about Amara's later years. There are no recordings, no photographs, no stories. Only the faintest of memories linger like smoke in the desert wind. Some say she spent her remaining days teaching, her hands gnarled and strong, guiding the next generation to rebuild. Others say she walked the wasteland, searching for her daughter, her heart a compass, always seeking, always hoping. Whichever tale is true, or perhaps a bit of both, one thing is certain. Amara's light continues to shine. In the faces of the children, in the strength of the community, in the warmth of the setting sun, Amara's light shines on. It's not an easy road, but there are rewards for those who persevere. The reclamation project, like the flare itself, was a turning point, a reminder that even in collapse, humanity could find a path forward. Picture its legacy in the flickering lights of those early hubs, a quiet defiance against the dark. But the flare left other questions unanswered, questions that lingered in the ruins of the world it shattered. Let's leave Amara's settlement behind and turn to one such mystery, a puzzle buried in the ashes of technology. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. And who better to find out why than our intrepid hero, the one and only John? He'll find her at the local dive bar, naturally, nursing a beer and staring into the middle distance. For a man whose life was turned upside down by a mysterious flare from the sky, John has taken to the bottle. No longer a star-struck idealist, he's convinced the world will end in fire and is prepared to go out with a whimper rather than a bang. That's because the flare destroyed his research and with it, his purpose in life. It's hard to blame him. When the world ends, what is there to live for? Without the drive to explore the ruins for answers, John has become a shadow of his former self. But just as he's about to give up hope, a mysterious woman approaches him. She introduces herself as Sarah and wastes no time in making it clear that she is interested in John, both as a person and as a potential business partner. See, Sarah is a scavenger, a resourceful individual who makes money by salvaging valuable items from the ruins of the old world. She's got a particular interest in tech, anything that still works or can be repaired. And she believes that John, with his knowledge of pre-collapse technology, could be a valuable asset to her business. Intrigued but wary, John eventually agrees to team up with Sarah. Together, they set out into the wasteland in search of adventure and answers. They're looking for a lost radio tower, one that Sarah believes still has parts that could be useful for her scavenging business. If they can find it, that is. But the journey is fraught with peril, as the duo quickly discovers that they are not the only ones looking for valuable scraps of the old world. Soon they find themselves in the middle of a dangerous game of cat and mouse, with other scavengers, desperate people willing to do anything to get. their hands on the technology that could help them survive in the harsh new world. Will John and Sarah be able to stay one step ahead of their pursuers and uncover the secrets of the radio tower? Will John be able to reclaim his purpose in life and find a reason to keep going in a world that seems determined to grind him down? Or will the dangers of the wasteland prove too much for them and extinguish their flickering hopes for the future? Find out next time. The city is a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered concrete. Streets are choked with debris, the air thick with the dust of a world undone. Amara's work is slow, methodical, fraught with obstacles. She leads her team into the city, moving with the precision of a dancer, her eyes scanning for dangers, her footsteps sure and light. They search abandoned factories, their flashlights casting soft beams through cavernous spaces. The silence is deafening, broken only by the echo of their steps and the creak of rusted metal. They work in silence, their faces grim, their movements economical. Each panel they haul, each wire they untangle is a victory. Their hands are raw, their bodies aching, but they press on. Food is scarce, water even more so. They ration what little they have, sharing it in small portions. The taste of dried fruit or canned soup, metallic but sustaining. The threat of scavengers lingers like a shadow, a constant reminder of the dangers that lurk around every corner. In the distance, the glint of metal on metal, the shout of a man calling to his companions, the echo of their steps, and the scrape of metal on metal. They move with a quiet caution, staying in the shadows, avoiding the places where the light touches the ground. The work is grueling, back-breaking labor, but they persevere, driven by the hope of a better day, a chance to rebuild, to create a new world from the ashes of the old one. And as the sun sets, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, they huddle together for warmth, sharing stories, their voices soft, but steady, a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of unimaginable challenges. For in this world, hope is a resource as precious as food, as vital as water, and it sustains them through the darkest of nights. The flare still burns in the distance, casting an eerie glow on the broken windows of the data center. Inside, dust motes dance in the shafts of light, disturbed by the wind that moans through the shattered glass panes. It's a stark contrast to how it was before the flare, a fortress of glass and steel, humming with the quiet energy of thousands of servers. The air inside was always chilled to keep the servers cool, and the only sound was the soft whir of their fans and the distant rumble of the cooling system. The scent of clean metal and ozone hung in the air, a strange mix of industrial and antiseptic. I remember the first time I walked through those doors and saw the rows upon rows of servers, each one a humming, blinking testament to human ingenuity. I was a young technician then, barely out of school, and the responsibility was almost overwhelming. But the veterans around me moved with a quiet precision that was mesmerizing. Their footsteps were muffled by the sleek gray floors, which in turn muffled the sound of my own footsteps as I followed them deeper into the heart of the data center. It was a world apart from the noisy, dusty server rooms I'd worked in before. Here, the servers weren't just machines. They were the new library, the new archive, storing everything from financial records to scientific research. They held the data that made the city function, the information that powered everything from traffic lights to hospital equipment. In the years since then, I've worked in other data centers, but none have felt as sacred as that one, because in the quiet hum of those servers, I heard the heartbeat of the city, I could feel the pulse of the network as data flowed through the center like blood through a vast, intricate network of arteries. And as I walked among the rows of servers, I knew that I was part of something bigger than myself, something that kept the world turning. But as the years passed, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were living on borrowed time. The grid was a fragile thing, dependent on a complex web of infrastructure that could be broken in an instant. And I remember the day the lights went out, the day the grid went down, and the hum of the servers fell silent. It was a stark reminder of our folly, a warning that the world we'd built could be taken away just as quickly as it had been given. Because in the silence that followed, we were left with nothing but the faint glow of the emergency lights and the realization that we were no longer in control. The data center may be gone now, but the lessons we learned there will stay with me forever. I now understand the importance of preserving our data, of protecting the infrastructure that keeps our world running. For in the silence that follows the hum, we are reminded of how precious our connection to the grid truly is. When the flare struck in 2042, the data center fell silent. Picture the moment. Screens going dark, fans slowing to a stop, the air growing warm as backup systems failed one by one. The surge fried circuits, leaving the servers as lifeless husks, their data locked away in cold storage. In the chaos that followed, the center was abandoned. Its doors were sealed and its contents forgotten, as the threat of nuclear fallout forced survivors to flee the city. But the rumors persisted among them. Whispers traveled through the ruined landscape, carried on the winds of change. Stories of a place where the secrets of the old world lay dormant, waiting to be unearthed. They spoke of records that might explain the flare's origins, of warnings that were given but ignored, of knowledge that could help rebuild what was lost. Years passed, and the silent archives became a place of legend, both feared and revered. Some said the data center was cursed, that the spirits of the digital age lingered within its walls, preventing anyone from entering. Others claimed that it was guarded by feral dogs, packs of rabid canines that had made their home among the servers. Then there were the scavengers who braved the dangers, seeking the lost data for their own nefarious purposes, only to vanish within the ruins or emerge with madness in their eyes, babbling about things best left forgotten. The truth was that no one dared venture inside the silent archives until now. For here we are at the edge of the wasteland, standing before the rusted gates of the data center. Our team has come to uncover the truth, to delve into the digital darkness, and retrieve whatever information we can. We've heard the stories, the rumors, and the legends, but we're not afraid. We have a job to do. This is our channel, and today we're exploring the silent archives, a place where the past is buried and the future is uncertain. Join us as we uncover the secrets of the data center and the people who built it. What did they know that we don't? Why did they build it in the middle of nowhere? And most importantly, what happened to them? We're about to find out. But first, we need your help. Click the subscribe button to join our mission and be notified when new episodes are released. The data doesn't reveal itself easily, but we're determined to find it. With your help, we can uncover the truth behind the silent archives and what they mean for our world. So hit that subscribe button and let's get started. By 2043, scavengers and scholars alike began to explore the center. Drawn by the promise of answers, they stepped through a shattered entrance, the air heavy with dust and the faint tang of scorched plastic. The interior is a labyrinth of darkened halls, their walls lined with racks of silent servers, their cables tangled like vines. Your flashlight casts a soft beam, revealing papers scattered across the floor, reports, memos, fragments of a world lost. The rustle of these pages underfoot is the only sound, a delicate counterpoint to the oppressive quiet. The air is stale, carrying the scent of mold and metal, a reminder of time's slow claim. This is a place of forgotten data, abandoned servers, and the ghosts of ones and zeros. It hums with a low energy, a constant thrum that seems to pulse in time with your own heartbeat. You move deeper into the labyrinth, the weight of untold stories pressing down. Each server farm is a tomb, each cable a shroud, all wrapped around a mystery that refuses to yield. You find a room at the end of one of the corridors, its door hanging off its hinges. Inside, a single figure hunches over a table, their back to you. They are absorbed in their work, illuminated by the glow of a holographic display. As you watch, they reach out a hand, their fingers dancing across the surface, manipulating data streams that flow and shift like liquid metal. This is your opportunity, a chance to connect with another human soul in this sea of solitude. But how do you make contact? The question hangs between you, unanswered, as you stand there frozen. Will you reach out and connect, or will you continue to observe from the shadows? The choice is yours, your move. This is an immersive text adventure. To play, simply follow the prompts and type your choices. Let's begin. You awaken in a vast server farm, the metallic scent of lithium and decay heavy in the air. Around you, rows upon rows of darkened servers hum softly, their blinking lights casting eerie shadows on the floor. You're in the center, a place abandoned long ago when the network collapsed. Now it's just you and the ghosts of the ones and zeros that still linger here. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to find the source, to uncover the secrets hidden deep within the server's core. But first, you must navigate this labyrinth of humming machines, each holding countless terabytes of lost data. What do you do? Explore the server rows. B. Try to access the mainframe immediately. C. Search for signs of life. D. Create a campfire and wait for morning. Type your choice. The year is 2024. Humanity has suffered through one of the worst solar storms in recorded history. Widespread blackouts, infrastructure destroyed, economies shattered. But amid the chaos and the recovery, there is one question on everyone's mind. How could we have stopped it? The answer, it seems, lies in the Silent Archives, a collection of over 300,000 documents detailing the history of humanity's relationship with the sun. And the most crucial piece of information contained within is not what you think. At first glance, the significance of the Silent Archives is not immediately apparent. It's not written in any particularly striking language. There are no dramatic pronouncements or dire predictions. No, the most intriguing aspect of this find is what these fragments reveal. Among the papers, the survivors found reports from solar physicists, including Dr. Amara Kessler, a leading expert whose warnings of an impending solar maximum were tragically ignored. Imagine the scene. You're poring over ancient texts, the yellowed pages of a long-forgotten report. The ink has faded with time, but the words are still clear, the warning still stark. This was the Carrington event of 1859 all over again. A super flare was on its way, and it would hit Earth with the force of a thermonuclear bomb. Any system not hardened against it would be fried. And yet, according to these documents, a few months before the disaster, Dr. Kessler's warnings were acted upon. Buried under layers of bureaucracy, they were lost in a shuffle of memos and minute briefs. Corporate boardrooms and government offices failed to heed the looming danger. They chose to ignore the science, to prioritize cost and convenience over caution and care. The result? A disaster of unimaginable proportions. It's a story that transcends the loss of life and the damage to property. It's a commentary on the human condition, our tendency to ignore the signs, to fail to learn from history, and to prioritize short-term gain over long-term sustainability. The smell of old paper, faint and musty, seems to carry the weight of those decisions. The silent archives are a reminder that the past is never truly silent. It speaks to us in many ways, if we have the ears to listen. Why were the warnings ignored? This question haunts the archives. Some papers hint at economic pressures, corporations reluctant to invest in protections that seem speculative. Others suggest bureaucratic inertia, governments distracted by rivalries or public unrest. A few fragments point to a darker possibility, a deliberate suppression of data, perhaps to avoid panic or protect powerful interests. Picture a world where decisions about life and death are made not by nature, but by paperwork. A world where memos and reports dictate not just policy, but survival. It's a chilling thought, yet it's one that the present moment compels us to confront. Consider the plight of those who sounded the alarm on climate change, voices like that of Cyril Coopersmith. For decades, his warnings about melting permafrost went unheard, his research dismissed. Why? Was it the economic implications, the threat to industries that could have been? Or was it something more sinister, a calculated choice to prioritize profit over peril? Then there's the chilling tale of Morris Strong, the architect of Agenda 21, a blueprint for sustainable development. He, too, saw the urgency of the climate crisis, the need for immediate action. Yet despite his efforts, meaningful change seemed elusive. Why? Was it the vested interests that stood to lose? The industries and economies reliant on unsustainable practices? Or was there something more, a deliberate hand guiding events toward a predetermined outcome? We're confronted with a stark choice, a fork in the road where one path leads to complacency and the other to courage. One path paved with the good intentions that lead to inaction, and the other with the hard work of demanding accountability and responsibility. Remember the words of Edmund Burke. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Inaction is a betrayal of trust, a failure of our collective responsibility. When we choose to look away, to bury our heads in the sand, we become complicit in the very problems we seek to ignore. So let us not be the generation that failed to act. Let our names not be etched in the annals of history as those who turned away while the world burned. Instead, let us be the generation that demanded change, that held the powerful to account, that ensured a sustainable future for generations to come. The choice is ours. The path less traveled by may be fraught with challenges, but it is the path that leads to a better tomorrow. It's a call to action, a demand for change, a reminder that the time for complacency is over. We must be the generation that acts, that demands a better future, that ensures a sustainable today and a thriving tomorrow. Let our voices rise in unison, a chorus of change that echoes through the corridors of power, demanding not just action, but responsibility, not just words, but results. The fate of our world, after all, depends on it. The archives hold more than warnings. They preserve glimpses of the world that was. Picture a hard drive, its casing cracked but intact, recovered by a scavenger. When powered by a salvage generator, it revealed fragments of research, solar models, climate data, even the personal log of a scientist, a woman named Helen. She wrote about the storms, the rising tides, the people who died, all the warnings they sent out into the world, the unheard pleas of experts drowned out by the clamor of progress. These fragments, these data points, they became the fuel for the reclamation project, offering insights into sustainable energy, into living in the aftermath. But for every bit of knowledge salvaged, there is so much more lost. The servers are mostly silent now, their data corrupted or simply inaccessible. It's a haunting reminder of how fragile our knowledge is, how tenuous our grasp on the world around us. The Reclamation Project seeks to right that wrong, to find a way forward that is both sustainable and just. We are driven by the same curiosity that led our ancestors to explore the stars, to seek out new life and new civilizations. But we are also driven by the memory of all that has been lost, of the countless lives and livelihoods upended by the storms, by the rising waters. We will not rest until we have found a way to live in balance with the planet, until we have restored the Earth's bounty and our own lives to health. Because in the end, the story of humanity is one of resilience. We have survived countless challenges in the past, and we will survive this one too. We will rebuild our world from the ashes of the old one, and we will do it together. This is the Reclamation Project. Our story will continue in the next episode. Until then, keep exploring. Keep asking questions and keep searching for answers. That's how we will find our way forward together. The silent archives are more than a mystery. They are a mirror. They reflect the decisions that led to the collapse. Picture the scavengers leaving the center, their hands clutching salvage drives, their steps soft against the dust. The knowledge they carry is fragmentary, but it sparks debate in the settlements. People talk about accountability. They talk about rebuilding with wisdom. The archives, though silent, speak of a world that might have been and of a future that could still be shaped. Their enigma lingers, a quiet challenge to those who listen. Some say the archives held the key to everything, databanks filled with the sum of human knowledge. Others claim it was just an ordinary storehouse, nothing more than a building full of old books and documents. But the scavengers know the truth. They've seen the rows upon rows of silent servers, each one a potential trove of information, carefully preserved in the vaults beneath the city. For years, the archives were a forbidden zone, off limits to all but the most trusted officials. It was rumored that the leader kept his most valuable secrets there, hidden from prying eyes and ears. But now the gates are open, the security systems long deactivated, and what the scavengers find inside will change the course of history. They bring back fragmented data, half-remembered phrases and equations, lines of code and legal documents, stories and histories. Each piece is like a shard of glass, sharp and clear, and reflecting a different aspect of the world that was. Some see only danger in the knowledge held within the archives, memories best left buried and long forgotten. Others believe that understanding the past is the only way to prevent the future from repeating itself. In the days that follow, the scavengers become celebrities, their names whispered in awe and wonder. They share what they can, offering glimpses into the vast stores of information they've uncovered. And with each new revelation, the people of the settlement are reminded of the fragility of their existence. of the choices that led to the downfall of their predecessors and the importance of learning from their mistakes. The archives may be silent, but their message is clear. The fate of the world is in their hands. Now it's up to them to decide what to do with the knowledge they've uncovered, whether to embrace the past or to forge a new path forward. The choice is theirs. The end. When the bombs fell, the world became a silent archive. But not everyone lived in its hushed halls. Some thrived in the chaos, building new lives on the ruins of the old. I am the curator, and this is our story. The vault was a sanctuary for the elite, a refuge from the bombs and the silence that followed. Here, 1% of the world's population lived lives of luxury, while 99% endured the harsh realities of the silent archive. Among them was Kasia, a young woman with a thirst for knowledge and a spirit that refused to be subdued by the darkness. She grew up among the privileged few who sipped wine under the stars, unaware of the struggles of those living in the archive. One day, a stranger arrived at the vault seeking shelter. He was a whisperer, someone who navigated the dangers of the silent archive, retrieving valuable data fragments from the ruins of the old world. Despite the risk, he managed to breach the vault's security, drawn by rumors of its legendary library. Inside, he found not only books, but also a young woman who saw in him a chance to escape her gilded cage. Her name was Kasia, and she yearned for a life beyond the vault's high walls. Together, they ventured into the archive, where they discovered a world both wondrous and terrifying. Among the ruins, they encountered other survivors, some driven mad by the silence, others struggling to rebuild their lives. As Kasia and the Whisperer journeyed deeper into the archive, they uncovered secrets about the past and the true extent of a catastrophe. They learned about the cataclysm and the enigmatic force known as the signal that had caused it. But their exploration was not without danger. They faced threats from both the environment and the other survivors, as well as from within themselves, as the horrors of the past threatened to consume them. Through it all, Kasia's thirst for knowledge and the Whisperer's determination to uncover the truth kept them moving forward. They explored ancient cities, uncovering the remnants of a forgotten world and piecing together the events that led to its demise. Along the way, they encountered different factions of survivors, some clinging to the hope of rebuilding society, and others embracing the destruction wrought by the cataclysm. As Kasia and the Whisperer delved deeper into the mysteries of the silent archive, they uncovered their own pasts and the connections that bound them to the events that had shaped the world. And as the pieces of the puzzle came together, they faced a choice that would determine not only their own fates, but the fate of the world. Now, if you want to hear more stories from the silent archives, stay tuned for more updates. And if you want to learn more about the world of the silent archives, check out the lore available now. Here, on the sun-baked plains of what was once the American Midwest, a sprawling compound hums with activity. It's a fortress of privilege, a monument to wealth in a world that's gone back to the basics. This is the domain of the Solar Barons, the New World's elite. They rule the airspace with sleek, silent aircraft, their private airfields a haven of luxury and power. Their days are spent brokering deals, managing assets, and enjoying the fruits of a labor they no longer have to perform. The Great Flare may have taken everything from the people outside these walls, but it made the Solar Barons. And they were not about to let a little thing like a global catastrophe get in the way of their comfort. It's been 26 years since the sun flared and scorched the earth. The sky is still full of fallout, the air thick with ash. Crops don't grow anymore, and water is scarce. Outside this place, people are desperate, starving, fighting tooth and nail for scraps of food and clean water. But here, life is almost idyllic. Children play by the pool while their parents work, or at least while their parents work. There is a nursery on site with staff happy to care for the Baroness children, so they can get some semblance of a normal life. Food is plentiful, and when it's not, there is always the hydroponics lab where fresh vegetables are grown in soil that has been recycled for over 20 years. But life in the compound isn't all pampering and luxury. There's a darkness here, a constant undercurrent of fear. Every day, the barons must contend with the threat of raiders, those desperate outsiders who'll stop at nothing to get what's inside the compound. To protect themselves, the barons have built an army, and no one is safe from their brutality. Members of the barons' inner circle disappear without a trace, their usefulness having run its course. Disagreements during negotiations can end with a competitor tossed out of the nearest airlock to die a horrifying death in the vacuum of space. Welcome to the new world, where the old rules no longer apply and the only law is survival. Your story starts here. You are a newly minted solar baron, just arrived at the compound with dreams of a new life. But the higher you climb, the more you realize that paradise is just another word for prison. Your every move is watched, your every word monitored. The compound may be a fortress, but its walls are hiding secrets that could destroy everything. It's time to make a choice. Will you play by the rules, or will you find a way to break them? Are you ready to survive the compound? Welcome to the Enclave. Behind these high walls of scavenged metal and stone, life has returned to a semblance of normalcy. At least that's what the propaganda tells us. Every morning, we wake up to the same routine. The air is cleaner here. It's filtered by our makeshift water and air filtration systems powered by salvaged solar panels. A faint hum rises from their frames as they slowly rotate towards the sun. If you stand perfectly still, you can almost hear the world before the flare in the gentle rustle of the wind through the long grass. The scent of blooming jasmine, cultivated in our carefully guarded gardens, mingles with the warm aroma of roasted grains, a luxury in this sparse world. We grow our own food here in the Enclave, tended by those who have a gift for it. They say the soil is blessed, that the vegetables taste sweeter, the fruits more flavorful than anywhere else outside the walls. Of course, not everyone is so lucky. Those without skills or connections struggle to find their place in the hierarchy. There are whispers of those who don't make it, who fall through the cracks and are lost to the wasteland. But we try not to think about them. Your home, if you are a solar baron, is one of the grander structures. Its windows patched with clear plastic, its rooms warmed by fires, fueled with scavenged wood. The floors are covered with rugs, their patterns faded, but soft underfoot. Here in the evenings, we gather around crackling fires, sharing stories and songs from the time before the world ended. We reminisce about the days when the sun was a distant memory, when the sky was filled with smoke and ash. We remember the old world with a mixture of longing and sorrow, knowing that we may never see its likes again. But there is hope. Hope that one day the sun will shine through the clouds once more, that one day we will emerge from the ashes. Until then, we stay in the shadow of the solar barons, surviving on their scraps of kindness and hoping for a better tomorrow. Welcome to the Enclave, survivor. What brings you here? Are you seeking refuge or just passing through? Welcome to my channel. Your morning begins with breakfast. Not the scavenger's breakfast of watery tins and stale bread, but a breakfast fit for a king. A polished table set with ceramic plates and silver spoons, all salvaged, of course, from abandoned estates. You dine on fresh bread baked from grain that you traded for at a high cost, and preserved fruit whose sweetness is a rare delight on your tongue. The room is lit by candles, their wax dripping slowly, casting a soft glow across the walls, adorned with salvaged paintings, landscapes of a world that no longer exists. Servants, paid with food or protection, move quietly about the hall, their steps a faint echo in the vast emptiness. Outside, the wind whispers through the skeletal trees, but here within the high walls of your enclosure, there is peace. Perhaps an hour's walk from the sea, perhaps two, the waves crashing against the sand dunes like an army at siege. But you are safe within your walls. For now, a thin blanket, once a luxurious throw, is spread over the grass, forming a makeshift table. On it, a steaming pot of spiced apple cider, its warmth a comforting weight in your hands. Beside it, a plate of sweetmeats and pastries, each bite a burst of flavor, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. For even in this desolate world, life, it seems, will find a way to endure. In the distance, the skeletal remains of a Ferris wheel creak in the wind, a haunting reminder of a world lost. Yet here, within the shelter of your encampment, there is music. A lone guitar strums a mournful tune, but it is a song without despair, for the melody speaks of resilience, of hope, and of the indomitable spirit of humanity. As the sun dips below the horizon, the sky erupts in a blaze of color, a final flourish of beauty in a world turned gray. The cold seeps into your bones, but beside the fire, wrapped in a salvaged quilt, you feel a warmth that has little to do with the flames. For here, in the shared stories and laughter, you find a solace that transcends the desolation that surrounds you. And when the stars begin to prick the darkening sky, you know that even in this world, turned upside down, there is still magic to be found if only you have the courage to seek it. And with that, welcome to my channel. If you enjoyed this experience, please leave a like and comment. Until next time, you are a baron now, ruler of your own small domain in the wasteland. Your enclave looks to you for leadership, for guidance on how to survive in this new world. Each morning you wake up before sunrise, tend to your small garden, perhaps take a moment to meditate or pray for the old world, then get to work. Your day is not one of labor, but of strategy. How will you keep your people alive through the coming winter? What groups can you form alliances with? Which threats need to be prepared for? There is no time to waste. You grew up in the suburbs, but after the flare you retreated to the resource-rich countryside, bringing with you a few generators, fuel drums, and weapons. Now you're an executive, a manager, a leader. You trade power and supplies with the neighboring enclaves, perhaps a farming community to the south and a weapons manufacturing group to the north. You also meet with scavengers who bring salvage from the ruins of the old world in exchange for food. They come to you with strange goods, pre-war books, maps, even toys. Some are desperate, some are curious, and some simply want the barter. You catalog everything carefully, for every item has a value in this new world. Ink on good quality paper is especially prized, so much so that the pages of your ledgers smell faintly of charcoal. It's a small luxury, but it grounds you nonetheless. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, you meet with your people. Perhaps there is a newcomer to the settlement who needs guidance, or a young mother looking for tools to build a crib for her newborn. You have a vast well of knowledge, but you must choose what to share and when. Your people look to you for leadership, for guidance on how to survive in this new world. Your decisions will determine their fates and the fate of the world. What will you do first? Will you tend to your garden or head to the trading post? Perhaps you'll meet with your people or take a moment to explore the wasteland. The choice is yours. The fate of the world rests in your hands. You survived the flare. You built an enclave, a world apart from the radioactive wasteland that was once the United States. You hired 200 men to staff your settlements, to guard its walls, to keep the scavengers out. And every morning when you walk the ramparts, they remind you of the desperate people crawling through the ruins beyond, scavenging for a better life. The city's ruins are your tribute, its goods funneled to your stores, its people brought to your fields to work as servants and laborers. Her is a heady draft. In the distance, you can hear the rival barons in their enclaves vying for control of this shattered world. Their voices crackle over the radio, veiled threats under the guise of trade offers. Within your walls, the servants whisper of a fairer share of the tribute, of how the scavengers outside did more than they do. You know it's only a matter of time before the laborers and the guardsmen turn, too, questioning your right to rule, wondering why you, a former scavenger, have become the very thing you once despised. They don't understand the burden of leadership, the sleepless nights spent worrying about the morrow, the constant struggle to keep everyone alive, to keep everyone working. Still, you have your allies, men like Even, strong and silent, a former military man who knows the value of discipline and obedience. You have Marcus, the doctor, whose medical skills are as sharp as his tone. And there's Sarah, the teacher, who believes that knowledge is power in this brave new world. But even their support isn't enough to quiet the disquiet within your walls. The scavengers may be a desperate lot, but they're free to roam the wasteland, free to scavenge what they need to survive. What right do you have to take their freedom, to confine them to your walls, to rule over them? Yet, despite the murmurs and the questions, life in the enclave goes on. The fields are cultivated, the workshops are busy, and the scavengers continue to arrive, bringing with them the promise of a better life. It's a life that you, more than anyone, know is a lie. You survived the flare, yes, but the fire has changed you. It's made you hard, resourceful, cunning. You've learned to thrive in the wasteland, to take what you want, to do what you need to stay alive. And maybe, just maybe, you can teach the scavengers how to do the same. Maybe you can give them a chance at a better life, a life that, like you, they deserve. Yet even in this opulence, the flare's shadow lingers. Imagine for a moment the quiet that falls when the generators on the lower levels kick on at dusk, pushing out the last of the daylight and plunging the city below into darkness. You stand on your balcony on the 10th floor, overlooking the twinkling lights of the 21st century's metropolis. Above you, the penthouse windows blaze with life, throwing fractured rainbows across the polished floors. Below you, the scavengers pick their way through the ruins of a fallen skyscraper, their silhouettes stark and thin against the dying light. In the distance, the mournful cry of a ghoul echoes off the shattered glass and twisted metal of the fallen world. You know those sounds well. You, too, have walked that fine line between life and death, clawing for scraps and hiding from the rad scorpions that stalk the night. With every sunrise, you've watched the scavengers return to the citadel, their bodies grimy in hair, and clothes matted with dirt and blood. Their eyes, though, they're always bright with the fire of survival, burning with a fierce hunger that mirrors your own. You remember the gnawing emptiness in your stomach, the constant itch of radiation poisoning, the thirst that never quite goes away. But here, within the enclave, there's plenty of food and clean water and medicine. You can afford to turn away from the flickering holodisplay that shows the wasteland beyond the citadel's shimmering dome, pretending that the world outside doesn't exist. Here, the air is purified and recycled, filtered through layers of steel, and treated by scrubbers to remove every trace of radiation. Here, hydroponic gardens bloom with fresh fruit and vegetables, tended by drones that whiz silently through the air, their movements precise and efficient. Here, the holosleep units hum with the soft light of 1,000 stars, offering respite from the endless daylight of the surface. But even here, in this sanctuary, the truth of the wasteland seeps through the cracks. Rumors spread like wildfire through the ventilation shafts, whispers of dwindling supplies and equipment failures. Faces you pass in the corridor seem drawn and haggard, their eyes filled with a new wariness. And the laughter of children echoes with a strange hollowness, a stark reminder of the fragility of life in this harsh new world. For all the wonders of the citadel, its shining towers and bustling marketplaces, the specter of scarcity hangs heavy in the air, a constant companion to the rich and powerful. Even in the heart of this opulent prison, the wasteland's icy grip remains, a chilling testament to the enduring power of the nuclear winter. The air grows still, the only sound the soft whirring of unseen wings. Above, the crimson sun bleeds into the bruised horizon, painting the sky in hues of fading embers. Welcome to this moment of quiet reflection, a pause in the narrative of 2044. As we stand here at the edge of the Solar Baron's enclave, I invite you to turn inward, to sift through the echoes of the stories we've just explored. The city around us, once a vibrant hub of human endeavor, now stands as a somber monument to the fragility of our creations. The shadows cast by the colossal structures seem to deepen, enveloping the remnants of a civilization plunged into darkness by the great flare. Yet amidst the desolation, we've witnessed the tenacious spirit of humanity. We've seen it in the eyes of the scavenger, struggling to eke out an existence in the shadow of towering giants. We've heard it in the voice of Dr. Amara Kessler, whose quiet determination belies a fierce intellect that refuses to be silenced. Our journey has taken us through the labyrinthine halls of the silent archives, where whispers of the past echoed through the ages, offering glimpses into a world irrevocably altered by the unforgiving embrace of the sun. In the heart of this sun-bleached wasteland, we've encountered the enigmatic figures who've risen to power in the wake of the great calamity. The Solar Barons, cloistered within their self-made sanctuaries, guard the secrets of survival against the relentless onslaught of the sun's wrath. And now, as the day surrenders to the night, we find ourselves at the precipice of understanding. The stories we've gathered are like pieces of a shattered mirror, each reflecting a fragment of the world that was and the arduous journey toward rebuilding. In this moment of quietude, I encourage you to let the hum of the solar winds carry your thoughts back to the world of 2044. Let it serve as a reminder of the strength that can be found in the face of overwhelming odds, the courage to confront the darkness, and the enduring power of the human spirit to adapt, to overcome, and to seek solace in the shared stories that bind us. As the sun dips below the horizon, taking with it the murmurs of the Solar Baron's enclave, May the faint, gentle breeze carry these stories deep within you. Let them dance in the chambers of your heart, echoing the resilience of a world forever changed by the great flare. For in the tapestry of our shared humanity, these threads of courage, resilience, and hope will continue to shine brightly, guiding us through the darkest of nights and reminding us of the unwavering strength that lies within us all. Until the next time our paths converge in this digital expanse, may the stars guide your way and the echoes of these stories be your constant companion. Picture the city one last time, its skyline softened by dusk, the stars above a constant in a world transformed. The flare had come and gone, leaving behind a silence so profound it echoed the absence of the wind. It was as if the world had been stripped bare, not just by the blast, but by an unseen hand that had taken everything for granted. The scavengers, hardened by the sun and the struggle, moved through the skeletal remains of buildings, their steps a slow, deliberate dance of survival. They were the ghouls of this new world, picking through the bones of the old, searching for anything that could be repurposed, rebuilt, reclaimed. Their faces, weathered and worn, were a testament to the battles they had fought, not just against the elements, but against despair. For in this desolate beauty, hope was a precious resource, carefully hoarded and traded like water in the desert. Then there were the scientists, their faces illuminated by the eerie glow of their makeshift labs. They were the alchemists of this brave new world, turning the toxic remnants of the old into something that could sustain the few who remained. In their eyes, one could see the reflection of a dying sun, the determination to understand, to control, to heal. For knowledge, they knew, was the most potent weapon against the encroaching darkness. And then, rising above it all, were the barons, figures of power in a world where power had become precarious. They held what little wealth remained, jealously guarding it in the face of those who had lost everything. Their voices echoed with authority, commanding respect and obedience from the survivors who looked up to them. For in the absence of rules, they had become the architects of a new society, however temporary, however flawed. The city was a graveyard of memories, each building a tomb of stories left untold. But amidst the ruins, life, fragile and tenacious, was finding a way to bloom. It was a world of contrasts, where darkness gave way to the faintest glimmer of dawn, where silence spoke of endings, but also of beginnings. It was a world that refused to be extinguished, that yearned for the sun, even as it scavenged through the shadows. It was a world that, despite everything, still hoped to rise again. I am the narrator, and if you liked this story, please share it with your friends. We'd love to have you back for our next one. Until then, goodbye. Now let your thoughts settle into the comfort of the present. The city of the flare is far away, its struggles a distant memory, its lessons gently cradled in time. Your bed is soft and warm, the air free of ash and dust, the quiet of your night a gift rather than a burden. The past, with its trials and triumphs, has carried you here to a place where rest comes easily. Let the stars of this imagined world fade, their light giving way to the soft darkness of your own dreams. Drift now, carried by the gentle rhythm of this tale, toward a peaceful slumber. The world outside is still, and you are safe within it. Good night, and may your rest be as calm as the dawn that follows. So ends another day, another story, another step on our journey through the boundless expanse of the shared imagination. As the last embers of the tale fade into the night, remember the magic you've held in your hands tonight. The city of the flare, though veiled in mist and mystery, has touched your heart with its tales of courage, hope, and resilience. Its people, though etched in starlight and dreams, have shared their laughter, their struggles, and their triumphs. And you, dear listener, have been the weaver of it all, your presence giving shape and substance to the very air we've breathed tonight. For it is in the sharing, the coming together in the quiet of the night or the hush of the afternoon, that stories truly come alive. And so, as the final notes of the tale fade away, take with you the warmth of the hearth, the glow of the firelight, and the echoes of laughter that have resonated within these digital walls. Let the characters we've met along the way, the brave, the curious, and the kind, continue to inspire you as you navigate the adventures of your own life. And when the moon is high and the shadows grow long, may the tales we've shared tonight offer solace, amusement, and perhaps a guiding light in the darkness. For the city of the flare, like the stories that fill our lives, will forever hold a special place in the chambers of our hearts. Until next time, when the fire of imagination burns bright once more, may your days be filled with wonder and your nights with peaceful dreams. Your day is not one of labor, but of strategy. Picture yourself in a study, its shelves lined with books and maps, the paper yellowed but intact. You are a baron, perhaps a former executive or engineer, who secured resources in the flare's early chaos generators, fuel, even weapons. Your role now is to manage these assets, trading power and supplies with other enclaves, negotiating with scavengers who bring salvage in exchange for food. Your desk is cluttered with ledgers, their pages filled with tallies of batteries and barrels, a new currency in this world. The ink smells faintly of charcoal, a scent that grounds your thoughts as you plan. The enclave is a world apart, yet not untouched by the flare's legacy. Picture the walls, guarded by hired sentinels, their presence a constant reminder of the scavenger's desperation beyond. The city's ruins, where you once walked as a scavenger, are now a source of tribute, their goods funneled to your stores. But maintaining power is a delicate balance. Rival barons in distant enclaves vie for control. Their messages, crackling over the radio, are laced with veiled threats. Within your walls, dissent simmers. Servants whisper of fairer shares, and even allies question your authority. The weight of leadership is heavy, though cushioned by comfort. You wake in a bed of furs, a former flame beside you, her fingers tangled in yours. Outside, the wind whispers through gaps in the wall, carrying the scent of wood smoke and something else, something faintly metallic. It's a sound and smell you know well from your days as a scavenger, a reminder of the world that's still out there. Beyond the walls, the scavengers, they rely on you now, just as you once relied on the generosity of strangers. In this new world, it's a dangerous responsibility. Your radio crackles to life, a rival baron's voice smooth and cultured, a stark contrast to the grit of your reality. He offers a trade, one that could benefit both parties, or it could be a ruse, a way to gauge your defenses while you think he's distracted elsewhere. A game of inches, a battle of wits, where the only casualty is pride. There's more, a subtext of veiled threats, a reminder that in this world, diplomacy is a double-edged sword. As you consider your response, you glance at the ledger on your desk, each entry a testament to your domain's prosperity. You have food, more than enough to last the winter, perhaps even trade for next year's harvest. Your people are safe for now, but the threat of the scavengers' desperation lingers. Their hunger could boil over, spill across your borders, and drown your prosperity. It's a grim calculus, survival and security versus compassion and risk. Your former flame stirs beside you, a silent plea for the old days, for simplicity before the fall, before the desperate whispers outside the walls, before you became a baron, a leader, a pillar of the community. As you rise, the sun paints the sky in hues of orange and red, a canvas as vast and unforgiving as the wasteland outside. Today will be long, your decisions echoing into the night. But for now, it's the quiet before the storm, a moment to gather your thoughts and prepare for the inevitable chaos. The fate of your enclave, perhaps even the world, hangs in the balance.